Hello dear students, welcome to GDC classes. In today's video lecture, we are going to look at the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act of 1985. We are dealing with the MCQs. 20 MCQs will be done for this particular part. So the question number 1 in front of you is, the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Order came into force in which particular year? 1st of April 1995, 14th of November 1985, 10th of March 1945 or 10th of April 1940. So you must be remembering the date when the NDPS passed or NDPS Act came into force was 1985. So obviously this is the particular date in which this particular act came into the picture, 14th of November 1985, but it came into force in this particular year and in this particular date. But when was it is passed? So we will be looking at this also. That is, this was passed in the month of September, 16th of September 1985, and in actually it came into force on 14th of November 1985. That means the act was passed 16th September itself. It was passed on 16th September itself, but the whole implementation occurs from the 14th of November all over the India. It was implemented or came into actual realization of this particular act. Second question is talking about diacetylmorphine is also known as what? Cocaine, ganja, heroin or charas. So you must be knowing that DAM, that means diacetylmorphine. We also know this diacetylmorphine as the heroin. What we known as, it is also known as heroin. What it is? Heroin, it is nothing but a diacetylmorphine derivative which has been semi-synthetic derivative of a morphine. It is a morphine's semi-synthetic derivative. It happens or we get it by the acetylation. We get it by the acetylation at the morphine ring. Then it is more soluble and 2 to 3 times more potent analgesic than compared to morphine. Next question, question number 3 is telling about opium straw includes all of the following part except what? In the sense, the opium straw, it is directly asking you the definition of the opium straw: flower, stem, seed or root. So you must be knowing that opium straw means everything but except the seed part. Apart from the seed, everything is the opium straw, but without seed, everything is opium straw. If it is seeds, then it is not considered as the opium straw. Direct definition: except the seeds, the opium poppy after harvesting, original form, cut, crush, whatever it is, but without seed, it is known as poppy straw. To remember this particular thing. Question number 4 is telling about government opium factory is located at which position. So you must be knowing that there are two locations only two locations where the opium or the opium production happens for the local purposes for our use of the opioid drugs. So that is Ghazipur is the one, and next is the Neemaj factory and Ghazipur factories are the two factories which are only specifically government approved factories for the opium related cultivation, opium related productions of the medicines. So both of them is the correct answer. Do remember this thing. Ghazipur and Neemaj are these two particular factories. When I talk about question number 5, it talks about cannabis means what? Bhang, charas, ganja and all of the above. So you must be knowing it. Cannabis is also known as, it is known as Indian hemp. What is cannabis? It is called as Indian hemp. Do remember this particular thing. And the further thing is cannabis is also include bhang. Cannabis means also charas and cannabis means also ganja, because there are the different parts of the cannabis plant which is denoted by these terms. Like the bhang one is the leaves wala portion. The leaves are known as bhang. The charas is the resin extract. Resin extract is called as charas and ganja is the tops. Which tops? Flowering and fruiting tops. So how to remember this? You must be knowing that during holy time there are the green color leaves and there is some drink which is prepared out of it. So you can remember very well what is bhang. For charas you can remember R is in the charas only we get R as the letter present here. So R for resin, you can remember, like the resinous part of the cannabis is the charas. And for ganja, you can remember green top. Just remember as green top. So it is nothing but ganja means the tops of what? Flowering and fruiting tops of the opium of the cannabis plant. Okay, so all of this will be correct answer. Leaves, flowering, fruiting tops, and the charas is the hashish. Charas is also known as hashish oil or liquid hashish. Do remember this particular thing. Question number 6 is telling about opium was bought under the legislative control in which particular year? In which year? 1957, 1878, 1859 and 1851. You have to remember this particular thing that opium, the first one to produce, to approve the opium related cultivations production was the Lord Cornwallis. You must be remembering this particular individual from the time of British, that is before independence. Lord Cornwallis was the one who has started with this opium related cultivation, and that's how the opium related stuff started in India. But he saw that there was many kind of misuse regarded to opium, so he tried to control it by how? He was trying to control it by taking regulation, making laws over it. So the first law which came is called as Opium Act. The first law came, Opium Act, that was in the year of 1857. Okay, it was 1857, and further the laws, different laws came, and the amendments happened, and now what we are following is NDPS Act, in which psychotropic substance were also included, narcotic drug and psychotropic. NDPS Act, Psychotic Substance and Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act of 1985. So, in actually the first act which covered the opium was in 1857. But you can see there are no option as 1857. So, is it a wrong answer? No, it is the right answer. The options are also correct because the Opium Act further amended in 1878 also. So, it was amended in 1878 also. So, that's why the correct among this particular option would be option B itself. If there would have been the option of 1857 also, then you would have ticked 1857. In that case, if there is no 18, the question will be coming further also. So if both of them is given, then you will also be getting the option as both A and B. Okay, so don't worry about it. So option B will be our correct answer. You can see Opium Act. There were two Opium Act. First was in 1857, the very first one to brought the coverage of opium under it, and then next is 1878. So do remember this particular thing. Question number 7 is talking about as per the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act, ganja means what I told you. The mnemonic is green top, green color top. Green color top has the flowers and fruit on it. Flowers and fruit as a print. You can remember there is a top which has flowers and fruit on the top. So it is a flowering fruiting top of cannabis sativa. Yes, this becomes the correct answer. So option A will be our correct answer. Next question number 8, what it is talking about, which resin is obtained from the Indian hemp plant, bhang, opium, codeine and charas. Again I told you how to remember the resinous part. Resin starts with R, and there is only one thing which starts, there is only one part, in the sense cannabis has three parts. In cannabis we know cannabis means also bhang, cannabis means also charas, and cannabis means also, what was the next thing? Green top, that means ganja. Okay, so you can see in bhang there is no R, in ganja there is no R, but it was only charas who has R in it. So you can remember very well, it is about the resinous part. So option D will be our correct answer. Question number 9, it is talking about NDPS Consultative Committee consists of how many members? 15 members, 10 members, 20 members or 25 members. You must be remembering this, that why this consultative committee was formed, because there was a certain kind of advices needed by the government. Government itself don't make any kind of rules and regulation. It has to be a group of people who decide something, who advises something. Based on that, the discussions and deliberations happen, and so on, the further act and regulations passed. So there should not be more than 20 members. There should not be more than 20 members who would be advising the central government regarding the narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance related stuff, all those stuff. Question number 10 is talking about opium does not include preparation if it contains not more than. You must be knowing that what is opium. Opium in the sense any preparation which will be containing more than 0.2% of morphine. Do remember this thing. What is opium? Opium is it should contain more than 0.2% of morphine. If it is less than 0.2% of morphine, this don't come under the definition of opium. So do remember this thing. Any preparation which has less than 0.2% of morphine, it is not considered as the narcotic drugs. Okay. So that's why option should be more than 0.2% of morphine will be our correct answer. Do remember this particular stuff also. So containing not more than 0.2%. In the sense more than 0.2% should be there to categorize it into the category of narcotic drug and psychotropic substances. Question number 11, it is talking about according to NDPS Act, the cultivating coca plant or gathering any portion of the coca plant is termed as production, illicit trafficking, preparation or manufacture. See, you should know this that government only specify the places, specify the person who can cultivate it. Without government, anything, not even a single leaves can be unturned in this particular act. This act is so strict in nature that you cannot do anything without the permission of government. So, if anybody without the permission or if it is not been approved by the government, if it is doing the cultivation or gathering of any of the plant, it is known as illicit trafficking. That means illegal movement, illegal transportation or illegal cultivation, manufacturing. It is called as illicit trafficking. That's why option B will be becoming the correct answer. Do remember this particular thing. Illicit trafficking also include anything which is related to the opium related stuff. That means even the cultivation, from cultivation till transportation, everything is illegal if you are not approved and doing this particular thing. Question number 12, it is talking about the under the provision of NDPS Act, the central government may appoint whom? Drug controller officer, drug inspector, narcotic commissioner or police commissioner. You must be knowing that if there is a law, then there must be somebody who can look after it or who can supervise whether everybody is following that law or not and whether any kind of culprit could be there who is breaching this particular law. The that's why there was one officer who is commissioned or there was one officer who is appointed for this purpose, and that is nothing but the narcotic commissioner. Specifically, the narcotic word is also written, so you could very well know about this. Narcotic commissioner is the one who is appointed by the central government to look after whether every rules of NDPS Act is being followed by every individual all over the nation. Question number 13 is talking about example of narcotic drug is opium, crocin, caramel and ciprofloxacin. Very straightforward question. Opium is the one which is the narcotic drug. Okay. Narcotic drug means what? It is a coca leaves, cannabis, opium, poppy straw, include all the manufactured drug. Including all the manufactured drug from all these portions are called as narcotic drug. Question number 14. The question which I was talking about earlier. Opium was bought under the legislative control in which particular year? 1957, 1857, 1859 and 1851. Now here you see. Earlier 1878 was there in the option, that's why we tick that particular option, but now here there is no 1878. That means this is the wrong answer or this is the wrong options. No, this is not the wrong option. Here there is one act which is present or one year which is present, 1857. Yes, this becomes the correct answer because in 1857 also there was an opium act. Next Opium Act came into the picture in 1878. Okay, so both of them becomes the correct answer. As per the question, as per the option, you have to choose which is the correct. As per the option, we have to choose which is the correct, which is the most appropriate one. So that's why option B here becomes the most appropriate one and correct answer. You can see Opium Act was passed in 1857, Dangerous Drug Act was passed in 1930 and NDPS in 16th of September 1985. Do remember this thing. In question whether they are asking when the NDPS drug is passed or whether they are asking when it came into the force. because both the dates are different. When I am talking about the past date, it should be September wala date, and when I talk about when it came into the force, then it would be the November wala date. Okay, so there is a difference about it. Question number 15, what it is talking about? Coca, opium and hemp comes under Dangerous Drug Act, Poison Act, Drug and Cosmetic Act, and none of this. Simple hai. Coca and opium, hemp all related to the narcotics, and before the NDPS Act there was Dangerous Drug Act, so it was covered under the Dangerous Drug Act. When I talk about Poison Act only covers, I already taught you the Poison Act in the previous video, in the video of Pharma Thunderstorm. The Pharma Thunderstorm series, you have seen that particular series. In that series, I have already taught you about the Poison Act. The whole Poison Act was covered within 10 to 12 minutes video. It would be there. That was the important one. You can even watch it right now after completing this video. It will be in the playlist itself. So, the Poison Act was related to the poisoning things, for controlling the poison. So these are not the poison as such, these are the drugs. And just because these have a very psychotic effect, that's why they are controlled. So it could be misused, right? Drug and Cosmetic Act all deals with the drug and cosmetic related regulations. So option A will become here the accurate one option. Then question number 16, what it is talking about? Which of the following is a psychotropic substance? Mezindol, methylpyrrolone, pentazocine, and all of the above. You must be knowing that all of these are the psychotropic substances. You can see this particularly lysergic acid derivative, alprazolam, amphetamine, amovapital, mescaline, midazolam, mezindol, pentazocine, ketamine. All of them are under the list of the psychotropic substance. Question number 17, what it is talking about? Keeping false account or making false statement under the NDPS Act. If you are keeping the false account or you are making false statement, the statement which is not true but you are claiming it to be true, then you are punishable with how much term of imprisonment or fine? 1 year, fine, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and fine. So you must be knowing that this is the imprisonment of 3 years with the fine, or both. This would be 3 years with the fine or both. There are several provisions under the offences which could comes under this penalty. Question number 18, as per the definition of NDPS Act, medical hemp means what? It is also known as what? Medical opium, medicinal opium, medicinal calotropis, medicinal poppy, and medicinal cannabis. You must be knowing it. I told you earlier as well that cannabis is also known as what? It is also known as hemp. So whenever any question which has hemp in it, that means cannabis. Any question which has cannabis in it, that means hemp. So one and the same thing. So here only the option D has the cannabis written over it. That's why medicinal hemp is nothing but medicinal cannabis. It is talking about medicinal cannabis. Okay. Question number 19, the second last question. NDPS provide licensing system to regulate dash of the narcotic and psychotropic substance. This provide regulation for what? Manufacturing, cultivation, transportation, all of the above. What do you think? Yes. Anything. Each and everything is regulated. Each and everything. Even the single leaf uh, cannot be like, even the slightest error could not be tolerated. Even the slightest of weight change during the weighing terms of the cultivation during harvesting, even the slightest of the weight will not be ignored. So that's why manufacturing, cultivation, transportation, all of them is covered under this particular act of the NDPS Act. Then the last question is, according to NDPS Act, a person who habitually uses the narcotic drug or psychotropic substance is called as what? Addict, patient, offender, or none of the above. You must be knowing this, right? Addict is the correct answer and not the offender. Offender is somebody who will breach in the sense break down any of the criminal law. Any of the criminal law, if broken down, then it is offender. So addict is very much correct answer for this. That is a person who will he get habituated for this particular drug. That's why option A will be becoming our correct answer. So yes, that was all about from my side from the NDPS Act. I hope you like this particular video and any doubts, then you can very well comment on it. Thank you so much.